All right, what's going on, people? It's me, Jay Fresh, right here. It's only right that we contact the cream of artists from across the spectrum of hip hop and grime, all the people that we're rating, all the people that I want to talk to that you need to know more about. So right now on the phone line, because that's how we do interviews these days, AYITE in the place. What's happening, my bro?
Yes, Jay Fresh. I'm good, man. I'm very good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, man. Now, I've already outlined a number of times my current settings, so I want to know exactly where you are right now during this phone call.
Nowhere that exciting, to be fair. Just posted up in the flat, where I've been for the last. I think I'm 7 weeks in now that I've been like self-isolating or in lockdown, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, man, just at the crib.
And how are you finding things? Because everyone has their own story during these strange times of how they're handling things or what they're focusing their time or their minds on. So, what kind of bits and pieces are keeping you, entertained and active right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mad one, isn't it? It's just crazy. Like, part of me's getting a bit of cabin fever, just wanting to get out of it now. But like, to be honest, I'd be lying if I didn't say that this situation is actually sparked off a couple opportunities for me, and I've kind of I've been trying to make the most of it. Last week I did I had a live stream gig over in conjunction with Notion, so I went up on their IG live and to like all of their followers and stuff, which was a sick opportunity that probably wouldn't have come about if it wasn't for all this madness. So it's kind of there's been a few silver linings. Other than that, just trying to just keep it fresh and consistent with the content, doing all these challenges that are flying around. I'm going to be jumping on as many of those as possible. Uploaded one earlier in the week. So yeah, man, just going to be doing all those kind of bits and pieces, maybe some more live stuff as well. Just see how it goes.
That's sick. I mean, it sounds like you're in a real good place, not only kind of creatively and taking advantage of these opportunities, but also kind of mentally. And a lot of different people are on a different journey, but I'm kind of guiding people to say, look, if you're of a frame of mind that, you're in a good place and you think, right, what can I do as a musician? Yeah. What can I do to connect with my fans or potentially build my fan base or, just be out there? Not everyone has to be active because some people need that time to themselves, but those that are, I mean, you sound in a really good place, man. I mean, I know that you said to me before that everyone around you, your people, everyone is healthy and happy and safe, and that is such a priority right now. So it's great to hear, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, just trying to. This is the thing, isn't it? Just I think my top bit of advice would just be how can you use the situation to your advantage? Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to ask myself every day. Do you know what I mean? How can you own it?
Now, good advice, man. Now, I was trying to think. The very first time we connected, and I might be wrong, but all I can think of is a summer ball, a university festival in Bournemouth, 5-6 years ago. So does that sound about right, or have I just totally made that up?
No, that is about right. I feel like there was one other time before that, but I can't. Yeah, that's definitely the first one that sort of sticks out in my mind. Yeah, whenever that was. Yeah, that was sick, man. That was a good little weekend, actually.
Well, that's the thing now. I don't want to be the guy moaning about things that the opportunities that have been lost now because things are a bit different. But as a DJ, losing the festivals and the clubs for the last few months, festival season is something you're so gassed about. And for you as a performer, festivals are life, man. How are you handling that shift in things right now?
I mean, it was a huge kick in the teeth. To begin with, because you go through that. You probably did the same. You're kind of in denial for a little bit at the beginning of it. This will all blow over by the time festival season rolls around. Every time we'll be back to normal. And then you kind of slowly start to realise that that's probably not going to be the case. And I mean, yeah, much like anyone else, I was starting to get these festival bookings lined up. I was reaching out to people. Obviously, last year I had the opportunity to play main stage at Sundown, which was really good look and was good for me. It allowed me to then reach out to other festivals and be like, here's this that I did last year. Do you know what I mean? Get me on the lineup, whatnot. So it was all looking real positive. And then slowly just started to realise maybe we're gonna have to rethink this summer, because it doesn't look like much of a vibe.
But like you said, it's the opportunity is there. It's what we make of it. Now, at the start of the conversation, you did mention you're going to get more active in kind of Instagram or visual type things as well. I did see that you did the quarantine bars sat in your car. I think maybe about a month or so ago. Yeah.
God, I forgot about that even. Yeah, that was right at the beginning of the lockdown. Yeah, man.
Now, what I find about you, and I find it it's frustrating, but it's a good frustration. Do you know where I'm going with this? The way I'm going with this is that I've only heard a handful of tracks from you.
Right.
So you're someone who I want to hear more music from.
Well, I mean, that's the best thing I can hear right now. Do you know what I mean? I'm hoping that everyone's feeling the same way.
Yeah, of course, man. Sorry, Karen.
No. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, you know, I mean, there's so much stuff that I've kind of been, you know, lots of music that I've been sitting on and kind of just like thinking of the best way to put it out. You know, like a lot of the stuff that I work on is quite, you know, it's quite varied as well. It's quite eclectic. Even when I'm working with the same producers, it's like some of the, you know, we'll make no two tunes will be exactly the same. So it's kind of like, my main thing is like, how do I tell that story? Do you know what I mean? How do I, like, what do I release and when that isn't going to be like too much of a curveball for people, but is going to, like, at the same time kind of showcase, you know, my range sort of thing. So that's kind of like the main thinking behind, you know, planning out these tracks and these releases.
I mean, if anyone out there has a quick flick through like your Spotify, it's just singles. It's just a clutch of singles: Smoke and Mirrors, Shallow Minds, and the new one, Practice Preach. We'll talk about in a minute. But what I find about you, and I do like and rate about you musically, which of course is why you're on the show. It's why we play your music. Come on, bro. Is that your music is? I don't know if introspective is the right word, but it's music that you absorb and you really listen to and you zone to. They're not party jams as such that you do.
Yeah.
The music that you do, like, sounds obvious, but it is music with a message. And I guess from your perspective, you've just touched on it there, but working out when to release tracks, how to release tracks, because you're someone who musically I see as you're very comfortable with what you do. Like you said, you might go left, you might go right, but you do what you do and follow your own lane. You're not going, all right, well, this is the wave now. I need to do something of this sound, or all right, this is popping off. I need to move over here. So, you know, is that an ongoing struggle, kind of, you know, planning and programming when music is going to come out, how it's going to come out, who's going to connect with? Or do you say, you know what, I know what I'm doing, I'm putting it out there and just seeing what happens?
No, it's for sure, like, it's for sure something that, you know, I take seriously, and a lot of thought goes into, you know, behind the scenes, and, like, you know, equally with, you know, whoever I'm making music with, you know what I mean? It's always a conversation, like, when is the right time for this to come out. I mean, and the thing is, you never know. The bottom line is you just don't know how anything's going to be received. You know what I mean? Like, you could release one thing and everyone loves it, and then the next thing it might just, you know, it might go over people's heads, or it might not be what they expected. Like, that's like one of the biggest fears is, like, if I drop this, so, like, you know, I mean, the love for Practice Preach has been really, really great, and obviously I'm super, super grateful for that. Then it's like, okay, is there pressure now for me to follow up with a track that sounds the same or has some sort of similarities? Do you know what I mean? Which I don't necessarily want to do. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'm very much like, once something's been said and done, then it's on to the next thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, that's definitely always in my mind. Like, are people gonna, like, what are other people's expectations? You know what I mean? But then at the end of the day, ultimately, you've got to just do what's right for you. And I'm, you know, I like to believe if the music's dope, then the music's dope, and people are just gonna, you know, the right people are gonna gravitate towards it.
Exactly. You stole my word. I was about to say gravitate, but you put it perfectly there for anyone listening, because I think a lot of people go through, myself included as a producer, you go through stages sometimes of, you know, elements of self-doubt do creep in. If you have an element of success with a certain track, you feeling, right, that's my lane, or that's cool, but I really enjoyed that, but now it's time to go this way because I want to be creative, I don't want to be boxed in. So for you, I think with some of your tracks as well, and I love having this discussion, is that it's clear that you're a hip hop head, Clearly, it's clearly the kind of tracks and influences that you've got there. No, that's a good thing. But I feel what is always always like is a balance is, you know, in 2020 to be influenced and sonically, you know, the elements of boom bap are there, but also make it contemporary. And that is something that I think some artists struggle with. But for you, like the latest record, Practice Preach, we're going to talk about now, I feel like you've got a nice balance of that. Does that make sense? That's how I see it. I might be off key there. But that's how I see it. How do you attack it?
I totally, I you know, I really appreciate that. I definitely take that as a compliment, and yeah, that's, you know, it's reassuring because that is definitely, again, like that comes, all of that comes into the creative process with me, and you know, while I don't, you know, I never try. I like to infuse as much stuff as possible, but not, you know, not necessarily force it. And it's just nice that, you know, when you hear that, like, that stuff, you know, those elements that you feel like maybe some people won't pick up on or won't get, you know, when that comes across in an organic way, that's sick. And, you know, I've got to shout out the producer on that as well, Josh Ryan, for like kind of, you know, realizing that sound as well. I mean, we sit and chat about music all the time, and like we're always listening to stuff together, and it's inevitable that those influences are just gonna creep in one way or another. So, yeah, man, definitely. Like, there's all those influences are going on, and it's definitely a positive thing that other people are kind of like picking that up.
Yeah, man, that's good to hear. So let's talk about the track now. Practice Preach. You sent it to me a few weeks ago, and I think straight away I replied to you saying, I'm feeling this track, I'm going to start playing it, man. How are you feeling about the track, how it's been received, the messages that are in it? Like, talk to me and talk to the people listening right now about your new track.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm super happy with the way it's been received. I feel like it's the perfect jump off for people who maybe haven't heard much stuff from me before, or my producer Josh Ryan. It's like, it really like sets the pace and sets the tone for the rest of the stuff that we've been working on and that we'll be, you know, releasing in the coming months or whatever. And it's just nice that, you know, I think people are appreciating, like you said, that it's, you know, it's hard. It's a hard track, like that production, that beat, like bangs, but there's that message behind it, and I feel like people are really, you know, they are gravitating towards that, and they're appreciating that there's like that substance there, and you know, I couldn't be more happy with that reaction, and the fact that, you know, the people who are wanting to hear that are hearing it. And yeah, man, like we've got shot a video for it literally in the living room the other day, like proper
Sick.
Like DIY isolation vibes.
So when can we expect that to drop? Sorry for cutting in. When can we expect that to drop?
Well, I'm literally going to have a chat after this with the person who's like editing it. So yeah, keep an eye out. I mean, hopefully, I'd like to have that out in the next sort of couple of weeks. So
Sick.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, just keep following me and watching this space, and it'll be out soon, man. Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to checking it out as well, man. And that feedback from you and that positivity around your new track is exactly why I started the conversation saying, I need more music from you. You know what I mean? That's as a fan of music. Like I said, here on the show, I represent the full spectrum of hip-hop and grime, the full kind of range. And people like yourself, there's not many of them in the game right now. The game is viewed and approached differently. And I see someone like yourself as, you know, you're building a legacy, you're building that. If you see what I mean, you're not there for like the quick hit or the hot collaboration or, like I said, the sound that's now. You're very much doing your thing, and that stands the test of time. You can listen back to those records from a year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years, and they still sound good and they still resonate. Do you know what I mean? So that's.
I mean, this is it. Like, you know, like both my previous singles, Smoke and Mirrors and Shallow Minds. Like, I recorded those a couple years before I dropped them, and probably the beats I'd probably heard them like even further in the past. So yeah, it's that's definitely, you know, the goal is always to make something that's gonna last. It's gonna be around. People can come back to it, and you know, age is like wine as opposed to milk. Do you know what I mean? So
wow, that's a quotable right there. That is a quotable.
But that also kind of speaks to, like, you know, why there are only singles from me out at the moment, because I feel like once it gets to the point, where I release that EP, I want it to be, earned. Do you know what I mean? I want the groundwork to have been there.
You want it to really make sense.
Yeah, exactly, man. So we're working towards that though, for sure. And it's just great. It's just so nice to hear, because I feel it's people like you that I make music for. It's people who are open-minded, who want to, they want to hear a bit of everything, kind of thing, that they're not going to shy away from maybe like influences or things that aren't the norm. And yeah, it's just it's just great to be able to come on platforms where you're speaking to people that also have that appreciation. So yeah, man.
Now listen, man, thank you so much for joining us here at Pyro Radio today.